nazaj v nadaljevanju današnjega sveta o novih idejah za stare zgradbe. Nadaljujemo z predstavitvami naših partnerskih organizacij v projektu in sicer bi rad povabil k besedi predstavnico občine Nikšić, prav tako iz Črne Gore kot ekspedicijo, ki smo ga že slišali. In sicer bo predstavitev predstavila Jelena, sem prav si zapomnil.
Hello everyone, I'm Jelena from the municipality of Nikšić, from Montenegro. And first of all, I would like to say that my presentation is slightly different from previous presentations because the municipality of Nikšić didn't have similar projects. So we decided to share with you some other projects that we implemented or some projects that are ongoing. First of all, I would like to share with you a few information about our municipality. As you can see, Nikšić is situated in central part of Montenegro. It's the largest municipality even in former Yugoslavia according to territory, and the second largest town in Montenegro according to population, with more than 70,000 inhabitants. We have beautiful natural resources. We have also a lot of students because we have university units here in Nikšić for foreign languages, sociology, philosophy, and something like that. A lot of agricultural land, plants, mineral resources, and our famous Nikšić beer. Here is a list of projects that we are implementing or that are implemented successfully, but I will just go briefly through them. The biggest one was connected to a sewage system, more than 3 million euros, where we succeed to reconstruct a sewage network and to construct one new part of sewage network. I will not read all these numbers, you can see as clearly. The second project is related to our airport for small aircrafts. This is within project IPA Adriatic, program IPA Adriatic, sorry. And within this project we succeed to build 2 taxiways and 2 platforms, along with some soft activities, workshops, and some events, championships, and similar. After that, we have another similar project, cross-border air networking, and this project is ongoing. Within this project, we will build the administrative building and the tower on that airport, so we will have fully equipped airport for small airplanes. We reconstructed the pump station Dukla, which was very essential for our town. After that, we had few, let's say, soft projects dedicated to preservation of our natural resources, about some training, some researches, educational lectures. We try to increase the level of knowledge about preservation of natural resources and sustainable development and something like that. So we were dealing with public utility companies and other partners from Serbia, from Bosnia and Herzegovina through these different cross-border cooperation programs. Like in this one, we prepared where departments for protection and rescue of Nikšić and Trebinje and some NGOs worked together. Civitas activity program. Within this program, we improved road traffic safety in school zones. So this was as well very important for us and for our youth. Advancement in the tourist and traffic signage. We procured new signs, we set up new traffic and tourist signs, we developed some brochures, website, and we have other soft activities. Within local coalition for community development, we were dealing with the public administration social dialogue, with the sustainable development, environmental protection, capacity building, NGO development, etc. After that, municipality of Nikšić became a member of the European Association for Local Democracy. And this is a similar project to this one, or not similar, but from the same program, Europe for Citizens, Balkans and Europe together. Within this project, we are along with 18 other partners from 18 other countries. And the aim of this network is, as you can see, platform for the exchange of experience, the exercise of dialogue, development of cooperation, development of partnership. We have to mention that we received the award for best practice in 2013 for thematic area from capacity building to EU funds. And it was given by Union of Municipalities of Montenegro in cooperation with ministries and with the cooperation mission to Montenegro. And now we are back to this topic. Best practice example 1. This is a former Dom Vojske, or House of Army. As you can see, this is a fully abandoned place, which is situated in center of our town. So after that, a group of young people, members of few NGOs, NGO Punkt, NGO Tunjal, and cultural center Bunker. Sorry, I have to remember. They decided to organize some performances. First of all, to clean this place and to organize some performances, some exhibitions, concerts, just to make alive this place and to share their ideas with other young people of Nikšić. So you can see here some installations, some creative ideas. They organized here one concert, and that was really successful. They got permission from a ministry and from the municipality to organize this. But the most important thing that this place is now subject of a totally new idea. This is Technopolis, innovative entrepreneurial center that is works on building of this center are ongoing. So we signed contract about maybe 1 month ago. This is going to be a place where clients can share their ideas, place where we can collect all innovative ideas, to put them together, to organize or to create some specific product or service, and to share them, to just put them to the market. Beside this, here Technopolis is going to have few offices, like for consultations regarding some lines, regarding some credit lines for startup businesses, for micro, small and medium enterprises, and things like that. So we are going to, we expect that this building is going to be finished next year. Best practice example 2. This is former cinema. So I have to share with you these few data. This cinema dates from 63 year, and the last 13 years was empty, was out of work. And on the other side we have our theater that with tradition more than 120 years, but without their own space for work for over 15 years. So it was a really complicated situation for both of them. And along with the government, municipality of Nikšić rebuilt this place, and now we have Nikšićko pozorište, our theater. You can see here new hall. And this is the biggest challenge in our town. This is Dom Revolucije, or House of Revolution. This building dates from socialism. It is constructed in 1976, and this is like monument here in center of town, just like symbol of socialism and great period, great how to say, great role of partisans in fights during the Second World War. But unfortunately this space is totally empty. This is never finished completely. We tried to collect few ideas from faculty of for special planning, for faculty of how to say, civil planning, civil engineering. Yes, thank you. Civil engineering. So we collected three ideas: how it would be to destroy it completely, how it would be to finish it completely, and how it would be to make some changes on this. But this is a huge space, 22,000 square meters, a great construction, and we need a lot of money. So we are trying to find investors that are interested in this specific place. And this is subject to this very project. Maybe you cannot see clearly, but these houses that you can see are former railway stations. Now there is no railway track, but simply road. But we are trying to make something from these houses. There are plenty of them. Their roof are totally destroyed, but the construction is still there. So we will during this project make a list, make a database of these very houses and some other abandoned and old places, and we will organize a debate about just in order to collect some ideas and some ideas that we can use for some other projects. So I think this is it. If you have any questions, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Now I would like to continue. I think it's Urban Institute, of course. I would like to invite Jonas Büchel from Riga to present their wide experience in this field.
Okay, hi. My name is Jonas Büchel, and not to wonder too much, since many of you, I guess, know German and you see the surname, so yeah, sure, I'm not a Latvian. I'm a German, but living for quite a long time in Latvia, for around 15 years. I'm representing an institution, or an organization, which is called Urban Institute. The institute was founded in 2011 by academics and also by, how to say, like taking the language of the day, by squatters. Not really, but more like, say, anarchistic motivated persons. So we kind of try to fulfill our so-called ANA, academia and anarchy. But to a certain extent, people haven't understood our message really, so nowadays we are collaborating with ministries and municipalities and I don't know whatsoever, so they didn't really hear the anarchy. But okay, yeah, that's probably our problem and not their problem. Or on the other hand, maybe we fulfilled a certain kind of niche. We were doing something, we like stepped in a vacuum, because you have to understand that maybe let's make a very, very small step out of here. We are like leaving former Yugoslavia. We had one side step of Germany. Sure, that is very different, specifically rural area. But let's make a sidestep and go to another former system, the former Soviet Union. So all the three Baltic states are part, or have been part of the former Soviet Union, and similar to the situation here, haven't been for a long time independent states. And similar to here also, the states are rather small. I mean, not to say very small. So Estonia is, with a certainly still ongoing decreasing number of population, soon reaching Montenegro's level. Slovenia, which was always bigger, smaller than Latvia, is already bigger than Latvia, because we're also decreasing, and Lithuania is also constantly losing people. I mean, being on around 3.5 now, or 3.3 million. So you see, there is a slight difference. We were also discussing that today, already in the morning. Our states, our municipalities, our smallest communities are shrinking, but even the biggest cities, everything is shrinking. We have an ongoing, constant immigration. People are leaving the country, specifically high-skilled people, specifically young people with good school education. So we are actually not only in a demand in order to like talk about, when we are talking about abandoned buildings and empty spaces and other issues, we actually have also a certain need to see what we are doing with our space, which is getting abandoned because people are simply also not there. But at the same time, there is a demand. It sounds very crazy, but there is a demand for space. So this kind of miracle we are like working on already for a long time now. Since 2012 we are trying to work on that, and I will explain that now. First of all, let me make two things again a little bit clear. I like always to say that we are dealing with human beings, this is the one thing, and we're dealing with houses or spaces or something that is giving us a roof, you know, like these old humans trying to sit in their cave. So we still want to have our cave, it looks like. So we're not only living in public space. So this is where things are like starting to matter in our specific program here. This is like a product that we are like working on quite a lot, and another project with community development training in Latvia. But I want to like show you first of all one case, or I'd say like I will tell you now two stories. One story is referring to Riga, and the other story will then refer to the place that we want to take, or that we are taking as an example and case study for this project for the next 1.5 years, or how long? 2 years? No, 1.5 years, 2 years, yeah. So let's go to Riga. This is the official logo of Riga. And this guy, maybe some of you know, I mean, those who have like some connection to German language, he is like a famous German, probably the most famous German writer ever, Mr. Goethe. And we simply took some, how to say, sticker and put it on his breast, saying like, we have to occupy you. But the back behind that is nothing else than the Goethe Institute in Riga was very much supporting this project, so this is like kind of the way. We are dealing with empty spaces. This is, by the way, a picture not from Riga but from Liepaja, a very absurd place. Liepaja is the place that will be in our project. And everything started in Riga with the capital of culture, the European capital of culture, approaching. Meaning the plans were ongoing somewhere 2011-12, it was getting slowly hot. Cultural actors got really nervous, something has to happen, something is going to be around. In 2014, Riga will be like the hotspot of the European culture. We were afraid that it will be the European capital of empty spaces, since you have to take in consideration that one of the most, I mean really, it's not about making too much promotion about like, I don't know, having a lot of patriotic feelings for Riga, but it is one of the most important cities in Europe, for example, for Art Nouveau and Jugendstil, probably in East Europe the most important one. And it is next to that also the last remaining biggest capital of wooden architecture. So both of this together makes it really like in a kind of way like, okay, do we really like have to abandon all of our spaces? But for sure we are also talking about post-industrial settings, post-military settings and so on. So we started to activate ourselves, and suddenly there was coming along like some Goethe initiative, which was called who makes the city and what makes the city, and they invited many cities, among also Belgrade, and actually the project you were talking about is also slightly connected with this. And then in that moment actually, like we had the idea it might be fitting perfectly in this kind of idea, in this global project. And they were really selecting us, it was quite surprising, and said like, okay, I mean, we had a very vague idea, just like talking about empty spaces. We haven't had any initiative planned, nothing, zero. We were just trying to create a social awareness. And out of that got like this, the printed newspapers of our project that was like 40 pages full of really info material and everything that we collected in Latvia by Latvians mostly, what we know, state of the art about how to deal with empty spaces, how to deal with abandoned buildings, what does that mean in terms of urban development and spatial planning, and how to like really relate that to our work, our daily life. And suddenly there were popping up a group of young people. I mean, there are also 2 or 3 older ones, I mean, for example, myself, but then there were like some young people. Currently, if you would take the same picture, you probably would need like, I would name 150 persons probably in the meanwhile. And they said, you know what, we are like already for a long time interested in like finally getting like space to do something, to be us, to be young, to be like experimental, to try to fulfill our ideas, to squat, to do whatsoever. But basically, we have no idea how to do that. Or on the other hand, we have ideas, but probably we also don't want to squat. We better want to collaborate, but we want to like develop something out of that, and we're really interested. And suddenly, all of this got like a social movement. So my story here is not so much, sure, there's all this technical stuff behind all of that, there is all of the construction behind all of that, there are examples and case studies, we can look on all of that in Riga, though we will not be in Riga, or only very short. So the main story here is social movement. So actually what happened is that this entire idea of empty spaces and abandoned buildings had the potential in a post-Soviet transition society, first time after 25 years, to kick off an independent, real, young social movement that said, stop, this is our city, and whatever you do is that we are interested in our city. So I think this is also a message. That's why I'm not so much going into the technical details, much more like trying to talk about the motivation and what it creates and how it stimulates society to actually suddenly understand this is my social environment. This is like taking this picture, like the screenshot is taken shortly after the whole thing started, already in 2013. So within 3 days, they got 3,000 likes, which is impossible in Latvia usually. We really kicked something off that nobody of us, even the young people, didn't expect that to happen. All about that is like actually empowerment, and that is the main issue that we are dealing with, and that is where we are thinking that is like the idea of empowering yourself to take your city, to use your city, and to really like be a part of it. This is just now one example, very short. This is like the last one that meanwhile Free Riga is an NGO, like really a little bit settled, and they start to really work as a kind of interface or temporary usage center, something like that. You know? So they really start to collaborate with the city council, they start to collaborate with the private business, they start to collaborate with possible users. Possible users can be NGOs, but can be also artists, can be, I don't know, also people who really want to do like a small business, like, I don't know, a barber or something. So nothing is set out totally, you are like free for everybody. This one, for example, is an example on the left side. You see like a private university, it's a faculty of architecture. On the right hand, behind the black fence, you can't see that really is like a channel parallel to the Daugava, the main stream and river in Riga. And in the middle is like a privately owned small storage building, which has never been really used anymore for many years. And the private owner, he heard what we are doing, and he came to us and said, you can have this hall, just take it. Make a garden there, do whatever you want. So this summer, this was like a very, very well received by many people, young and old people in Riga, like a kind of a garden space. There were like artists coming from the US. This one is from the US, this is the Norwegian guy, like coming there without any money, without any funds, without any projects. People were just hearing about it, they were coming and doing something. So this is like a space to act, a space where you can like live life, how to say. The second story. The second story is, now you get also a map, now you can see where's Latvia, you know? And yeah, if you forgot, like there is this Baltic Sea in the north, it's far away from here. And there are these monsters, Sweden and Finland and Russia and White Russia and Poland, sorry, Agnieszka. And then there is like, somewhere in the middle is these 3 small countries, and in the middle you see Latvia. Riga is quite much centered in the middle of everything, and then on the west coast there is the Windy City, similar to Chicago. That's how the people in Liepaja call themselves. They call themselves the Windy City. In Chicago, that, by the way, refers not to the way that it's very windy there, but it refers to the fact that they are a little bit arrogant. In Liepaja, it's pretty much the same. So everybody says they're a bit like arrogant, and yeah. So what is Liepaja? Liepaja is massively post-industrial. Liepaja is massively post-military. It was in Tsaristic Empire Russia, the biggest war harbor of Russia. And it kept going on being a war harbor until today, though the officials of the Latvian Navy, but Latvian Navy is like, okay, like 3 ships or something, don't take that too serious. Nevertheless, we are NATO members, so yeah. But I mean, there is this vast complex of a war harbor, which is, I mean, we are not talking about 70,000 or 80,000 square meters, we are talking about several hectares. It's empty, completely. its vast heritage. It's an enormous, I mean, this is all built in the mid-19th century. When we will walk through there, you will get heart attacks. It looks so wonderful. At the same time, it looks also really freaked out. So it's some kind of heavy thing that, by the way, this space is located. Here you have the city center area, actually. You have this very strange situation of having the open sea here, and you have on this side, you have a huge lake with a natural reservoir and some swamp area. And the like main area is here. This is the city center. Here's the beautiful promenade and beach. I mean, you're coming in June, then we probably can go for a swim. And here in the north, you will find the War Harbor. And yeah, we can say actually this entire territory here is the War Harbor. Yeah, then for sure the city is also full of brownfields, and the city center has done, actually the city council has started a little bit an initiative. They started to work. That's also why we were really interested to collaborate with them. They actually started to map, or not finished yet, but to map the abandoned spaces situation in nearby. And there is a certain kind of, how to say, I mean, once you're walking through the town, you catch a feeling of minimum half of the city is abandoned. It feels like that. When 25 years ago, Latvia entered in the independency, stepping out of Soviet Union, the city had approximately 120,000 inhabitants. This is the official data, 72,000 inhabitants today. The Urban Development Department of the City Council, not even hiddenly but very openly, says you can actually go down to 49 or 55. So, I mean, this city has lost more than half of its population within just 20 years. And this is a little bit strange. And it is a quite attractive city. Next to that, the city is very famous for tourism. Just a little bit south, you have Lithuania. Many Lithuanians, Lithuania doesn't have a real coast, you know, it's just like a little bit something, but they are like coming there, they love the city. And it's a city of rock and roll. There's real rock and roll, there are crazy pubs and bars, and this is the music town of Riga, of Latvia. Yeah, of Riga, actually, yeah, of Riga, that makes sense. So, and there is quite some tourism going on in terms of like, say, local tourism. Many Latvians actually are coming there in the summer, some Swedes going over, there's like a ferry connection, but not many actually. And still, they are keeping a lot of culture. This is just the official homepage. But here a small picture. Quality is not very good. It's not so easy to find good pictures. This is the major channel, which is like connecting the lake and the open sea. And in exactly also this area, here's like the old Freeport harbor territory. Here's the other harbor territory. Exactly this part of the city also, which is the very heart of the city, is the mostly abandoned area. Yeah, this is how, for example, the War Harbor is looking like. Practically everywhere. Beautiful. And this is how also the city looks like. It's a quite nice old city, but it has a lot of space, and it feels empty. It feels always like this. It doesn't look really like people are even there. So yeah, it's a little bit strange. And what we are planning actually with the city council, they're very open-minded, very interested, specifically like 2 or 3 contact persons we have there. What we are planning to do with them in this project is actually the first time set up a kind of a strategy, how at all to deal with this situation, and what does it mean specifically under this threat of this extremely downturning negative urban development, specifically economical development. Just the last only remaining industry closed, so now they really lost like 3,500 employment places. That was a big steel factory. So now actually nothing, there's nothing anymore. It's zero. So we have to give some sense in space in this town, because the town is too big to die. You know, it cannot die completely. Like a small community has that chance, but for them it's not possible. Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to tell you. Thank you. Can I have another minute? Out of the scale, I would like to make a kind of announcement, because I feel it's very, very important. What those organizers here, I guess very much also the municipality here, like Anna and you both have done, I don't know, it hasn't been expressed yet. that you really try to set up a network dealing with the question of empty spaces of small cities. Nobody recognizes small cities. That is something that I really have to say offers a big compliment. So thanks to you that you do all of this, because I think it helps us a lot, and many cities probably and hopefully. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. You were actually longer than planned, but I don't think anybody noticed because it was so interesting. And thank you for that.
Sorry.
No, actually, and now we are going to the next case, which is in a way a southern version, but not so radical, like Liepaja, Pula. We have another organization. I'll switch to Slovene now. Z nami je predstavnica organizacije Zelena Istra iz Pule in Dušica Radojčič in bo predstavila nekaj primerov iz Pule, ki je ravno tako, kot vemo, primerljivo veliko mesto, tudi bivše vojaško pristanišče, tako da se veselim.
Hi everybody, good evening. I have two cases. One is that this is not So the first presentation regards the social center Reutz, ex-military barracks, and the other case is about a huge ex-military area museum. So the first presentation is just 3-minute presentations, which I have prepared for another presentation in another occasion. So I will read it, so I will finish it very quickly, and then go and pass to the other presentation, which is, I suppose, more interesting for our conference here. So the first story is about an abandoned, so dark here. The first story is about an abandoned building, appropriation of space, new forms of use, and participative management. Social Center Reutz is housed in a former military barracks, the larger building in town, covering about 7,000 square meters. The building was a military school and barracks for 120 years. Yugoslav army left the building in 91. After that, the building received war refugees. A few years later, they left, and the destruction of the building started. The site fell into a terrible situation, and first squatters entered in 97. This is the picture of the situation at the beginning. Then a restoration period started. The squatters repair and decorate the spaces. More NGOs entered Reutz. Finally, the town of Pula decided to formalize the existing situation, even though the owner of the place was still the Ministry of Defense. The first utilization contracts were signed with the squatters in 99. The first public investments occurred, sanitary conditions improved. The place became safer, and more people starts to visit Reutz. After years of dissatisfaction with the building management as well as the financial management, the Reutz settlers organized a protest in 2008. The users start expressing their interest to take over part of the responsibility for the building management. In 2008, Reutz coordination was established. It's a public civil society joint management body made of 3 representatives of Reutz NGOs and 3 members of the town of Pula, which means that decisions have to be taken by consensus of both sides. But the town, not yet ready to share the decision-making power, has obstructed the work of the coordination. In 2009, Reutz users protested again against the refusal of the town to recognize the coordination's role, and the mayor accepted the Reutz settlers' proposal to start with the designing of the real joint public-civil model of management. Today, 108 associations have a formal 10 years contract for their premises. The only financial burden for association is the electricity bill. The maintenance of the building and investments in common spaces are paid from the town budget. Today we have functioning coordination and plans for the improvement of its work in the future. The life in Reutz is vibrant. We have tens of festivals every year and hundreds of other programs and activities. Most organizations belong to the art and culture field, 34. The second group is sport and recreation, 22 organizations, then national minorities, etc. Political values of our work are strengthening of the participative democracy, public control over a public good, and the work of local authorities. We have invented a new hybrid management model which can be easily copied and implemented in other cases and places. So this is So the other case is much more interesting, even though we have invested so much energy in Reutz social center. I'm the president of the coordination since 2008, and I have followed it from the beginning, and I can frankly say that now the thing is working, and I can see a bright future in front of the social center Reutz. The other case is a Museum Starter project. My idea is to, in order to explain what are we doing now, this model of temporary use for the reactivation of this abandoned ex-military area, I cannot explain anything without a broader context. So the first few slides, I will just go through them. I will not read it because everything is written, so please read it by yourself. And then I will start with the other part, which is a follow-up. So the first part of the presentation is entitled Antagonism. This is the area of Musil, and we have put some towns in Istria on Musil in order to explain to the population of Pula, which has never been there because it's closed more than 150 years, the vastity of the area. This is a planned golf course, obviously, it's not still realized. Okay, and this is the follow-up I'm going to talk about. So first we need a little of chronology. So in July 2014, State Office for State Real Estates has published the call for proposals or ideas for 100 abandoned properties. Musil is included in the list. In August, based on GfK polling, a renowned polling agency, 90% of Pula inhabitants support temporary use of buildings for local entrepreneurship and civil society association. September 2014, Green Istria, it's organization for which I'm working with, and the cooperative Praxa submit Musil Starter temporary use of building project to the state office as a mean of stopping physical deterioration and vandalism. It's a kind of Solomonic solution to a stalemate position caused by a contested urban plan. In January 2015, State Office for State Real Estate gives support to our Musil Starter project. In May 2015, Pula Mayor gives also support to Musil Starter project. In June 2015, we have produced an architectural study together with the estimation of restoration expenses, as well as the cost-benefit analysis of Musil Starter project. Still in June 2015, we have organized an international conference on the temporary use of abandoned spaces. It was organized on Musil. That was the first public event ever organized in abandoned buildings of Musil. In July, the City Council adopts the State Office for Real Estate's proposal of the call for investors for Musil. So even though we have our project and it was supported by both competent public bodies, they have decided, as planned from the beginning, to open a call for proposal for 99-year concession to the whole area. It's 180 hectares. The plan is to build 2,500 beds into tourist facilities, 8 halls, golf course, sport and marina with 400 berths, congress center, public garage, residential housing, etc. The proposed model is, as I have just told you, 99 years concession to one developer. We are all well aware that all such megalomaniac projects are unrealizable dreams in present circumstances. Such plans have only been able to block every kind of possible realistic development in reserved areas, which have, without users or tenants, suffered irrecoverable damage. So, just few words about the aims of the project Musil Starter. Integration of this wonderful, still preserved peninsula, which was closed for citizens more than 150 years for military reason. So integration of this peninsula in the city urban tissue, temporary use of some abandoned buildings for the development of local entrepreneurship, and a city social standard, creation of a sustainable management and maintenance model. So you can see here the buildings we intend to use. This is just a part of the peninsula of Musil. The buildings we are talking about are these ones. It's 4 huge buildings and 6 little ones. So our proposal gives the possibility to get out of the stalemate position. It's based on the logic of 2 lowest or least common denominators for opposed parties. Musil needs to be protected from devastation, seen so many times in other abandoned military areas, and Musil needs to be used for the fulfillment of the local community needs. We have proposed a solution with positive effects for all involved. For the city of Pula, putting abandoned buildings in function, saving them from devastation, creation of the constructive consensus, and development of the social capital. For citizens, a chance to get a big portion of town for the realization of their needs, from recreational to business. The area we are talking about that I have just showed you is the area of the former recruitment center, where we plan to create a hybrid economic kind of social startup incubator. Different facilities would be converted according to various models. The proposal of conversion is based on using the funds of the users that would be offered 5 years facilities use agreements, as well as the funds from the city of Pula budget intended for the payment of financial incentives to young companies. We have produced also a leaflet with more explanations, unfortunately only in Croatian, but at the moment we do not have precise answers. I mean, we have obtained support from the state and from the city of Pula, but we have no idea the conditions that the concession will be offered. I mean, it is not possible to use part of the building if concession will be given. The official call for investor wasn't published yet, but we are waiting for this call for investors in the next future. And even though we are not sure what is going to happen with this huge area, we are continuing our lobbying activities. We have produced a short video inviting people to give us their ideas how to use the buildings I was telling you about before. I don't know if we have time to see this 3 minutes video. No? Okay, maybe another time. Thank you.
Hvala za to prezentacijo. Zdaj bomo pa naredili še eno kratko predstavitev, ki ni bila prvotno predvidena, zaradi tega, ker so gosti iz Oberhausna pripeljali s seboj tudi predstavnico organizacije Stadtbaukultur, ki je veliko bolj teoretične narave, mogoče sama prezentacija, pa vendar je zelo poučna z tega bolj sistemskega vidika, tako da bi povabil zdaj Hano Hinrichs, da se nam pridruži na odru.
Okay, hi, nice to meet you all. I'm really happy to be here and to talk about the work of the institution I'm actually working for. As you probably all know, Germany is divided in 16 Bundesländer, and we are working in one of them, and we are paid by the local ministry for urban development and traffic and building. But we are very happy with that. We are relatively independent concerning our topics, our fields of action we are taking. But we actually have a kind of job to do, and that's promoting and raising the awareness for the questions of a good designed urban development, of good designed architecture, but we are really working on focusing not too much on beautiful architecture. That's something we are always expected to do and to talk about beautiful architecture, but we think it's much more in this whole topic than just concentrating on that what you can see with your eyes. We are much more understanding ourselves as a kind of laboratory for good ideas, for new ideas, for innovative solutions to different problems, and we are always trying to find a kind of practical handle to these questions we are dealing with. We are actually having our own projects, but we are also supporting other people in North Rhine-Westphalia who are dealing with the same topics. And as you can see, what is really important for us is that the projects we are supporting are always kind of having a public visibility to make this public understanding of this of the importance of this Baukultur we are working on more visible. And what is also very important for us is that the projects are not like little fireworks and after one event or so are gone forever, but they have a kind of sustainable impact on the further developments. Because we have such a vast topic, we try to divide that in 4 different kind of focus themes. One that is mostly concerned with architecture or with building themselves is our Umbaukultur. That's more or less the culture of redefinition. We have the slogan "Houses from yesterday for the city of tomorrow." That's actually quite close to the topics we are talking about today, and it's based on the idea that nearly all of the building, all of the spaces we need are actually built. We probably won't need so many new houses or buildings, and especially under the point of view of saving energy, it's really important to use the energy that's actually built in the existing buildings and to count on this energy we already have used. Another topic that also fits very well in here today is the topic of Wir-Urbanismus. That roughly translates like we urbanism, and it focuses on all the projects where the citizens of a city or a town are working on their own projects. A lot of that we've seen today. The other, the green one here, you can see Lebensräume. It's more concerned about housing as a topic, and a topic that's actually now getting more and more into focus. I will go on that further later. And the last one, Stadtgespräche, is actually our kind of communication tool, our department for talking about building culture. I'm just starting with one project from our topic Umbaukultur in North Rhine-Westphalia, which is definitely not the richest Bundesland in Germany, but actually in many municipalities very, very poor. We have in many cases the problem of junk property. That's a rough translation again, but it describes the problem that the houses are in such a bad shape that you can't finance the really needed redefinitions with the rent. So the owners can't get enough money from renting the flat. Renting, I think. Okay, they can't get enough money from the flat to get them back in shape again. So it's really difficult to handle these objects. Sometimes they're just abandoned, and we are now trying to work together with the municipalities in this case of Gelsenkirchen, on different kind of approaches, especially, for example, one where people who doesn't have the money to actually buy flats can work with their own muscles on them and renovate them for themselves. That's something we are really we are trying to put in reality, and we are quite far in the process actually. This idea is based on an idea which is actually realized in Rotterdam, Klushuizen, where they've tried this model, and what is very helpful for us, they already produce all the pictures which are so needed to convince other people from a project like this. one of the other really main topics or topics which are very visible in the city centers of Nordrhein-Westfalen are empty department stores. After some huge chains of department stores like Hertie and Karstadt at the moment are closing, we have this really massive and often very central positioned buildings, and it's not so easy to find some new solutions for them, especially because this kind of typology of buildings is so deep and so wide, so it's really difficult to find some new uses. But our kind of approach is we did some research, or we asked some people from a university to do some research for us to find good examples and to publish them in a publication so that municipalities all over the place could have a look and could say, okay, this could fit more or less to our case, or it doesn't. Urbanism is a kind, it spans from the question of participation and different approaches to participation by municipalities, but it's also concerning the question of doing projects themselves for the people. And he is one of my favorite, starting with the very young. That's actually an artist project where Ute Reh, an artist in Düsseldorf, worked with children and students on a cafe in a very neglected district of the city, and they built, in this case, they actually built a one-to-one model to find the right position for the cafe and to find the right dimension for the cafe. And the cafe is now developing, and they're hoping to finish it in, I think, in 2 years. Lebensräume, the question of homes, is one I personally was very connected with with this project, and that's the question of a single, maybe a double family homes. That's the kind of typology is really the most buildings in Germany are these single family homes. And they often have the same problem, that they are all built at the same time from people at the same age. So now the buildings and the people are getting older together, and they're not really fitting together anymore. And it's really difficult to find ways to activate people to really look for their own home. This is actually 1 minute. I skipped the talking about building culture. We actually try to support the volunteers for building culture activities, and jump to an actual project that's concerned with new perspectives for empty shops. We call that gute Geschäfte, good deals. And that is a really fresh picture from a conference we did on last Friday, and we presented here in this small exhibition altogether 25 projects who have different approaches of using empty shops and develop new ideas for this problem we have in all inner cities. 1 minute first? Okay. Yeah, that was the short version of our work, I think.
Thank you very much. Sorry for having me. Hvala. Mislim, da je pač gradiva, ki ga je zbrano, imamo tam en izvod v tiskani izvedbi, ampak Vse se najde na njihovi spletni strani v PDF varianti, torej Stadtbau Kultur, organizacija, če pogooglate, sem prepričan, da boste našli, ker so v resnici zanimiva gradiva z zbranimi primeri, o kakršnih se danes pogovarjamo. Zdaj pa samo bi rekel za zagon razprave, da se pravzaprav vrnemo nazaj na Ajdovščino. Še enkrat prosim Ano Furlan iz občine, da predstavi na kratko, bi rekel, povzame problematiko v Ajdovščini oziroma...
Ne, jaz bom predstavila primer prav te stavbe, v kateri se nahajamo, mladinske... za lafo. Občina Ajdovščina si je za današnji dogodek izbrala prav to stavbo, v kateri se danes nahajamo, torej Mladinski center in hotel Ajdovščina. Ker vas je večina udeležencev domačinov in ta primer dobro poznate, partnerji pa so se s tem seznanili že dopoldan, bo moja predstavitev zelo, zelo kratka. Torej, na tem območju je bil včasih vojaški kompleks, kar velik, ki je leta 1991 prišel v last občine Ajdovščina. Nekateri prostori so bili namenjeni podjetjem, ki so jih uporabljali za skladišče in druge namene, nekateri prostori pa so bili zapuščeni. Leta 2008 je občina se prijavila na državno sofinanciranje za vzpostavitev in izgradnjo oziroma prenovo te stavbe, tega zgornjega dela kompleksa in je bila na tej prijavi tudi uspešna. In torej še isto leto je pričela z izvajanjem tega projekta. Mladinski center in hotel je zaživel leta 2011. Celoten projekt je vreden 800 tisoč evrov, ne, 1 200 000 evrov. Od tega je 800 tisoč prispevala država, 400 tisoč pa občina Ajdovščina. Torej, območje starega vojaškega kompleksa je danes živo. V Mladinskem centru in hotelu se redno odvijajo dogodki za mlade. Poleg hotela pa so v stavbi našle prostor tudi številne organizacije in tudi turistično-informacijski center občina Ajdovščina. Torej, nekoč od mesta Ajdovščina malce oddaljen vojaški kompleks je danes idealna lokacija za mladinske aktivnosti. Nahaja se v mirnem in zelenem okolju z številnimi zelenimi površinami in dovoljnim številom parkirišč. Hostel ima kapacitete za namestitev 50 ljudi in obiskovalci pa poleg nočitev lahko uporabljajo tudi več prireditvenih dvoran in sejnih sob. Ter tudi računalniško sobo, mislim, da imajo. Celotno ponudbo pa dopolnjuje tudi bar, coworking prostor, pralnica in brezplačni internet. To je to od moje strani.